All right, man, another day, which means I have more free picks for you. Real quick, let's recap our last video. In our last video, we gave 4 picks away. Donovan Mitchell didn't end up playing, so that's a void. And then out of the 3 picks that did play, we went 2 for 1. CJ McCollum didn't go over his points. We got it at 20.5. I told you could take it at 21.5 if you wanted, and he finished with 19. He had 13 points heading into halftime, I think, and then in the third and the fourth quarter, he only scored 6 points, and towards the end of the game, he missed 6 shots in a row and finished the game with 19, so just a terrible bad beat right there. I would take that bet again if I could. He got the volume I was expecting. He just shot under his percentage towards the end of the game. If he would have hit just half of those shots, or even just 1 or 2 of those shots, he would have hit. And then Cade Cunningham cashed under assists at 10.5. He only had 9. And then Brandon Pods right here absolutely blew over his line at 9.5. I don't really remember what he ended with, but it was 20 plus. So easy cash there, 2 for 1. And from now on, I'm going to be tracking our units on these free picks. We profited 0.98 units if you took all of these as straights. So obviously pretty profitable there. Love to see it. Over our last 46 bets, what I'm going to show you were 31 and 15. Pretty good. Win percentage of 67%. And our last 10 were 6 and 4, and our last 20 were 14 and 6. So obviously looking pretty good as far as that goes. And with today's video, I plan on continuing to do that. So without further ado, let's get into this first pick. All I ask is you hit the subscribe button and hit the like button. And I did want to mention that I make these videos at night, so I can't always get you all the picks that I want you to take. So if you want all of those picks for completely free, just go over here. It's going to be the first link in the description. Scroll down, find the free plan. Hit subscribe. It's completely free, $0. And I'm going to send you out extra picks as well. That's all you have to do. Like I said, it's free. You're going to get a higher volume of picks. So go subscribe over there. And with that being said, let's get into our first pick. And our first pick here, we're going to go and take a look at the Clippers game and that guy Norman Powell, and we're going to take a look at his points line at 22.5. So, as you can see right here, currently on the season, he's averaging over this mark at 24 points a game, and then in his last 30, he's hitting at a 60% rate, which is obviously pretty good to see. And what I love to do first, always, is take a look at what his projected minutes are, and in this game, he's projected to play around 35 minutes. So if we bump this minute range from 32 to, let's say, 40, you're going to see that his hit rate skyrockets all the way up to 76%. In 25 games, he's hit this mark 19 times. Now, what's great is when you look at the matchup as well, it's also a super favorable matchup for Norman Powell, starting off with his dominant playing type. So what you're going to see is when it comes to dominant playing type, the Pacers are a top 15 team in the NBA. It's stopping scoring in transition, which is what Norman Powell likes to do the best. But when you add that filter on and you look at what he does against top 15 teams here, he's still hitting at a super high rate. He's hitting at an 81.8% rate, so it really doesn't slow him down much in what he wants to do in transition. And then when you also pair alongside that the Pacers are a bottom 10 team in his second favorite play style, you're going to see, let's take it to bottom 10, that he is hitting at a 100% rate. His secondary play style is spot-up shooting, and the Pacers are just not very good at stopping that. And when you look at teams that aren't very good at stopping spot-up shooting, he is going over this line every single time at a 100% rate, averaging almost 30 points a game. So, I mean, it's ridiculous that this line, in my opinion, is at 22.5. It should at least be at 23.5 or 24.5. So go snag this while you can. So that's going to be my first pick. Now let's move on to my second pick. We're going to stay in this same game on the same team, and we're going to look at that guy James Harden and his points plus assist line at 31.5. As you can see right here, he's only hitting this line in his last 30 games at a 33% rate. He's only averaging 29.7 on the season. So right here, it looks like it's going to be an under. And I'm going to tell you, in this scenario, I'm taking the under. And that's because when you add in his minutes, he's projected to play around 34 minutes in this game. So let's bring him up to 31 as his minimum and 37 as his max, put him in that range, and his hit rate lowers even more to just a 26.7% hit rate, which is obviously absolutely terrible. And what I also love about this is when you look at the matchup, you're going to see that James Harden obviously loves to shoot from above the break. He loves to shoot threes, not in the corner, but at the top of the key, outside of the corners. He scores 52% of his points there, and that is where the Pacers are the best at defensively. They are the third-ranked team against that, and when you look at what happens when James Harden plays teams that are good at this, if we look at when teams are top 10 and guarding threes above the break, his hit rate drops to just a 9.1%. In just 1 out of 11 games, he's hit this over, which is obviously absolutely terrible. So there is no way I'm taking this over here. He hasn't really been playing too great as of late either. And when you add on these filters and you add on everything else I mentioned, it's all just pointing towards a big time under, and I really do think that's what's going to happen. The Pacers are also the 11th best team in assists allowed. So if we go ahead and we add that filter as well, you're going to see that it makes it that much worse. Let's just look at top 15 teams in assists allowed, and that makes his hit rate go down to 14.3%. I mean, everything, literally everything is pointing towards the under. You're getting pretty good odds here as well at minus 111. So I would go take that right now before this line has a chance to move. It might not move, but take it while you can at 31.5. I absolutely love it. So that's going to be my second pick. But real quick before we get into my last two picks that I also love a ton, I do want to show you something. And that is the fact that I officially opened VIP picks. But what I wanted to do is start it off with a bang. So if you just go use my code FBL on Sleeper right here, I'm going to give you a free month of VIP. All you have to do, use the code and send me a text right here on the screen. This number right here, I'll get back to you. I'll get you your free VIP as fast as possible, but I'm only going to do this for 10 spots. I'm going to start it off like this with 10 spots only, so go get these spots before someone else does. We're hitting at a 67% in our free picks, so you can just imagine how profitable we're going to be once I open this VIP up and I give you a ton more volume. And then also to go on top of that, Sleeper's going to give you $55 back if you just play 5, and they also have a free square of Jason Tatum, so you can pair this free square with any pick that I'm giving you today, which is going to make your odds of hitting even higher, so go take advantage of that while you can. Use my code, text it to me. I'll get you the free VIP as fast as possible. And now with that out the way, let's go ahead and get into our third pick of the video, which is going to be that guy Toppin to go under his PRA at 11.5 right here. As you can see on the screen, the under might not look too great because he's currently hitting at a 73.3% rate in his last 30, and on the season he's averaging 15.3. Now, just like with the other players, what I love to do is take a look at what happens when he plays in his regular amount of minutes. You don't want blowouts to be in there because that can make things change. And what you're going to see is when he plays in his normal projected amount of minutes, which is 16 in this game, that rate is going to drop down a little bit to 69.6%. And then when you add on top of that this matchup just isn't the greatest for him, you definitely can see how this under would be profitable. So the first thing that I want to look at is opponents' rebounds allowed, because when you look at this, what you're going to see is the Clippers are a top 3 team in rebounds allowed. And when you see what happens when he faces a top 10 rebounding team, this hit rate drops all the way down to 37.5%, which is obviously pretty low. The graph on the screen right here is just averaging out to 8.8, which is well below this 11.5 mark, and that is the first reason why this under, in my opinion, is a good pick. Now, to go along with this, it's also just not a very good matchup for him to score points either, or to get assists in, because this team is 6th in assists allowed, and you're going to see if you make that a filter as well. Let's go ahead and look at opponent assists allowed and make them a top 10 team in that. His hit rate drops to a 44.4% rate, so that combined with the rebounds makes me extremely confident that he's going to go under this mark. And then finally, just to top everything off, when it comes to him scoring points, it's also not the greatest matchup there either, simply because he scores 27% of his points in transition. The Clippers are a top 10 team in stopping that. He scores 26% of his points as a spot-up shooter. The Clippers are a top 15 team in that. And then he scores another 10% in free throws. The Clippers are top 8 in that. And then after that, you can just see the Clippers are 3, 4, 4. So it just doesn't look like a great opportunity for him to be scoring a lot of points. And when you combine that with the rebounds and the assists, I'm going to be taking this under. You're getting it at minus 105, so almost plus money, which is really good value. I would go take it while you can before this line moves. Now, if you want to be a little bit safer, there are some books that have his rebounds by themselves at 3.5. As you can see, it's 3.5 here. It's going to be minus 160 on most books, which is a little bit juiced up. But if you take a look at his hit rate here in the minutes played, 13 through 19, it's a 43.5% hit rate, which obviously isn't very good. And then when you add on to the filter, opponent rebounds allowed, and make him a top 10 team like I did earlier, his hit rate drops to a 12.5% hit rate there. So you can take the under on rebounds alone or on PRA if you want more value. Either way, it's going to be up to you, and that's going to be my official third pick that I do like quite a bit. Now, for my fourth and final pick, we're going to go over to a different game finally, and we're going to look at that guy Steph Curry against the Lakers. And we're going to take a look at his assist line at 5.5. As you can see, he's hitting it at a 60% rate in his last 30 games, and over the season, he's averaging 6.2 a game, which is pretty good to see. So that's the first thing that caught my eye. And then when you go back and see what he did against the Lakers the last few times they played, he had 6 assists the first time and 9 assists the second time. And the second game was without Draymond Green and Kuminga. So with Draymond Green coming back, you might see his assists go up even more, which is another reason why this pick makes a lot of sense. Now, even though head-to-head is good to look at, it's probably not the best metric to go off of, and that's why I added a little bit more. So if you want to go ahead and firstly look at what I did with every other player, the minutes, he is projected to play 34 minutes in this game. So let's take him up to that mark, 31 to 37 minutes. And when you do that, you see that his hit rate goes up a ton to over 70%, hitting 20 times out of 28 times where he played 31 plus minutes. So this is a really good mark to be at. And then also when you add to it that this game is a 7-point spread, so it shouldn't be too far off. Curry should get these minutes. And the Lakers are a bottom 10 team in assists allowed. You can add that filter. And when you do that, that's when literally everything changes. Let's go ahead and do it. See what Curry does against bottom 10 teams. And as you can see, his hit rate goes up even more to a 77.8%. He's hit this 7 out of 9 times where it was the case. And just to add even more to that, the Lakers just don't have the greatest defense in general. And when you look at when Curry has played bottom 10 defensive ratings, you're going to see another similar thing happen, where his hit rate jumps up once again to 88.9%, almost 90%, and that's why I like this over a ton. I think he's going to crush it. I think this is an easy hit, and that is my 4th official pick. So to recap real quick, let's go ahead and look. Norman Powell over points at 22.5. You're getting great value there. James Harden under points plus assists. I just think there's too many things pointing towards the under here to do anything else but take that under. And then we have Toppin under rebounds or under PRA, whichever one you like. Rebounds, you're going to get a little bit less value, but you're probably going to get a little bit safer bet. And then PRA, it's a little bit more risky because of the point aspect, but you're going to get a lot better value. Either way you want to go, you can take either one. And then finally, Steph Curry over assists. We just went over that. And that's going to give you 4 good picks that I think you're going to profit. All I ask, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you enjoyed. And until next time, let's all go print some money.